Hello viewers, a very warm welcome back to Reflux. This time, presenting the analysis of paper 1, General Studies in Engineering Aptitude, paper of UPSC Engineering Studies exam 2025. That was held a few days back. So, in this video, I am going to present my detailed analysis, subject wise, and weightage of all the subjects, difficulty level, and what can be a good score. I will also mention that. तो इस वीडियो को अच्छे से देखिए, जो एस्पिरेंट्स अपियर हुए हैं या जो आगे के लिए अपियर होना चाहते हैं ये इंजीनियरिंग सर्विस एग्जाम में, तो उनके लिए बहुत फ़ायदा होने वाला है ये देखने से. तो प्लीज़ वॉच दिस वीडियो टिल द एंड केयरफुली सो दैट यू गेन द मैक्सिमम बेनिफिट. So let's start with the analysis. Paper 1 basically has 10 subjects which have nearly more or less equal weightage, slightly more or slightly less, but more or less equal. So starting the first subject, that is the most weightage this time. I think it was current affairs, or as the UPSC syllabus mentions it, current issues of national and international importance. Relating to social, economic and industrial development. Relating to social, economic and industrial development. Basically this subject includes economics as well, mostly economics. इस सब्जेक्ट में इकोनॉमिक्स का अच्छा खासा वेटेज रहता है. इस बार इस सब्जेक्ट से 13 क्वेश्चंस गए थे एंड as the pattern is fixed, 2 marks each, negative marking minus 2/3, 1/3 of the marks, that is 2/3. 13 questions came, 26 marks on the subject current issues of national and international importance, that is current affairs and economics based. And the questions were from different topics like triple P, then India's foreign policy for Panchsheel, then APMC Mandis, Shram Suvidha portal. From economics, there were many questions from equity capital, then shadow price of foreign exchange, and income elasticity of demand. All those things, many questions, like diverse topics included. ऐसे क्वेश्चंस आए थे इस बार. प्रधानमंत्री योजना से भी आया था एक. तो more or less it was on the moderate to difficult side because engineering aspirants are not quite don't prepare this subject in that was like importance. थोड़ा सा डिफिकल्ट रहता ही है और क्वेश्चन जिस तरह से आए थे उसमें थोड़ा सा मार्क्स को अपना डिफिकल्टी है. तो ये सब्जेक्ट को मैं मॉडरेट टू डिफिकल्ट कैटेगरी में रखूँगा. नेक्स्ट पर नेक्स्ट इंपॉर्टेंट सब्जेक्ट आई थिंक इट वाज एनवायरनमेंट, एनर्जी एनवायरनमेंट, बेसिक्स ऑफ एनर्जी एंड एनवायरनमेंट, बेसिक्स ऑफ एनर्जी एंड एनवायरनमेंट, कंजर्वेशन, environmental pollution degradation, and this environmental climate change, environmental assessment studies, impact assessment, EIA, and we have in project management as well. So basically this time 12 questions came from this subject. Questions were from diverse topics, from biological diversity to shape of the fog that is coming out of the chimney, then drought, that is disturbed space and time, all those many different topics it covered. Then nitrate poisoning, it's nitrate excess leads to which disease, these kind of questions were there. And more or less these things. Algal bloom, then the microorganisms that produce oxygen in the absence of sunlight, basic, and then energy output of a wind turbine, then what is the concentration of effluents coming out of some industrial and that thing. So basically the questions were from different topics in this domain of energy environment. तो ये मेरे हिसाब से on the easier side था, easy to moderate, because if you applied some basic engineering common sense and intelligent guessing, you could answer many of the questions. So in my opinion, it was easy to moderate this energy environment. Coming on to the next important subject, this time it was again, as it is usually seen, information communication technology, which is ICT. Right. Tools and applications in engineering. Right, this is the subject name. Networking, governance. So questions came from what are the sequence of e-governance. So that thing was there. Then something related to intrusion monitoring, perimeter access control. That thing was there. In for equivocal forensic analysis, like unexpected topics. Questions came. More or less, then Unix operating system, time complexity, attacks and all. Right. So information communication technology is anyway not that easy. Then the access, internet, the layer of access that is given to external companies, this extranet, all those typical unpredictable questions came basically from this subject, that the engineering aspirants don't study that in that much depth. तो इतना अच्छे से पढ़ते नहीं engineering aspirants, तो इसके लिए मैं इसको डिफिकल्ट कैटेगरी में रखना चाहूँगा, क्योंकि इसमें जो क्वेश्चन आए थे वो सही कर पाना कॉमन सेंस लगा, इंजीनियरिंग कॉमन सेंस लगा के भी बहुत मुश्किल है. तो ये मेरे हिसाब से डिफिकल्ट ही था ये सब्जेक्ट. बेसिकली सिर्फ 11 क्वेश्चन आए थे, 11 क्वेश्चन थे. सो इट वाज द थर्ड मोस्ट इम्पोर्टेंट सब्जेक्ट दिस टाइम. Next, coming on to the next important subjects we had this time. This one next. Fourth subject. Move on to this fourth subject. Fourth subject, I would like to say that it was, I think, in my opinion, it was this drawing, general principles of drawing, design, drawing, importance of safety. Here also the questions were well distributed. इसमें से अच्छे से क्वेश्चन डिस्ट्रीब्यूटेड था. कुछ ड्राइंग से थे, प्रोजेक्शन से, but not a parallel type of projection, then plane which cuts the, which makes an angle, all those things, parabola, hyperbola, all those things were there. And questions from dimensioning as well. And from safety, there was questions from safety philosophy, questions और डिज़ाइन पे questions था, मैकेनिकल डिज़ाइन के ऊपर रिलेटेड क्वेश्चन था. बेसिक प्रिंसिपल ऑफ मशीन डिज़ाइन के ऊपर भी क्वेश्चन था, मशीन डिज़ाइन एलिमेंट्स जो है, एंड टेस्टिंग के ऊपर भी क्वेश्चन था. और मैकेनिकल इंजीनियर्स डिज़ाइन का क्या क्या क्राइटेरिया होता है, एस्पेक्ट्स क्या कंसिडर करता है, व्हाट मैकेनिकल इंजीनियर्स डिज़ाइन कंसिडर व्हाट फैक्टर्स. All the questions were from all those topics basically. So yeah, this was also, I would say, this was also moderate. And then failure theories were also asked which is the 80% of failures occur due to which kind of stresses? Fatigue, shear failure. So it was easier for the mechanical engineering and civil engineering aspirants, but not for electrical engineering and electronics. So I would say it was moderate, not easy, not difficult. So in moderate test, I think 10 questions again. 10 questions. Next, coming on to the engineering aspirants' favorite subjects, which are engineering maths and numerical analysis. Engineering mathematics and numerical analysis. It was easy to moderate. Because the volume question was a bit typical. Another question that was a bit difficult in my opinion was not difficult but tricky somewhat. That the prizes distributed to 5 prizes distributed to 4 people, like that. One question was that it was a bit tricky. Other than that, other questions were doable. Basic trigonometry was asked, then area questions and all those things. Vector, eigenvalues, complex numbers, square roots. It was more or less easy. For those who are practicing like engineering mathematics nicely, for them it is easy. But 1 or 2 questions were a bit typical, a bit tricky. So I would again rate the difficulty level as easy to moderate. 10 questions, out of which I think 7 to 8 would go at least, if not more. Differential questions were also there. Homogeneous differential, all those things. General things that we study in engineering mathematics, questions were asked. Okay, coming to the next subject, again another favorite subject of engineering aspirants, which is engineering aptitude. Covering logical reasoning and analytical ability. Ten questions were asked, and I think this was the easiest one. Easy. Rather than one question given related to man, number of men, more men that would be required to complete in a certain number of days. That question, other questions were pretty straightforward and easy. बहुत ही आसान था, बहुत ज़्यादा कैलकुलेशन भी नहीं था. थोड़ा सा एप्टीट्यूड को प्रैक्टिस में आसानी से कर सकते हैं. 10 में 10 ही हो जाना चाहिए, 10 या 12. कुछ तो इसमें से भी एप्टीट्यूड इंजीनियरिंग मैथ्स और एप्टीट्यूड इंटरचेंज कर सकते हैं. 2 क्वेश्चन मतलब कुछ इंजीनियरिंग मैथ्स में जो हम कंसिडर करें वो एप्टीट्यूड में कंसिडर कर सकते हैं. तो टोटल मिला के इन दोनों सब इसका तो 10 के 10 क्वेश्चन आपको बनना चाहिए. इजी, इट वाज ऑन द इजियर साइड. One question was somewhat wrong, percentage was given, that was incorrect, and other questions were easy, and out of these 20 questions at least you should be able to answer 16-17 questions easily. That would boost the score. Score अच्छा करने के लिए इसमें से 16-17 questions आपसे सही बनना चाहिए था. और ये easy था, this subject was easy in my opinion if you had some basic practice of engineering aptitude. बेसिक एप्टीट्यूड, लॉजिकल रीजनिंग, दोस थिंग्स. इसके बाद आते हैं नेक्स्ट इंपॉर्टेंट सब्जेक्ट्स पे. कमिंग लाइक हैविंग लोअर लेस इंपॉर्टेंस देन द अबव सब्जेक्ट्स. इसके बाद आता है और 4 सब्जेक्ट बचा है मेरे ख्याल से. करते हैं कौन सा करेंगे. पहले क्वालिटी लेते हैं, स्टैंडर्ड्स and quality, practices in production, construction, maintenance services, construction, maintenance and services. This was, in my opinion, it was difficult because aspirants are not used to studying these subjects in that much depth. बहुत ही अलग अलग टॉपिक से क्वेश्चन आए जैसे सिक्स सिग्मा में लोग पढ़ लेते हैं. उसके बाद UCL LCL जो अपर कंट्रोल लिमिट होता है, लोअर कंट्रोल लिमिट ऐसा कुछ होता है सिक्स सिग्मा में. NP चार्ट्स, N चार्ट्स, P चार्ट्स वो सबसे आया था. N चार्ट्स, NP चार्ट्स, किस आया था, RC चार्ट, R चार्ट एंड ऑल दोस थिंग्स रिलेटेड टू सर्विस क्वालिटी, उससे आया था क्वेश्चन. फिर प्री प्रोडक्शन फेज में क्या विच एक्टिविटीज डन, क्वेश्चंस केम फ्रॉम दोस थिंग्स. इलास्टोमेरिक कनेक्टर, TQM, total quality management. So questions were from various topics, but as the aspirants don't study this subject in that much depth, I would rate this difficult. And it was quite difficult to answer at least 50 to 60% questions correctly. 9 में से क्वेश्चन आया था 9 में से 4 to 5 क्वेश्चंस करने में से बहुत अच्छा है करेक्टली. लेकिन वो भी मुश्किल है क्योंकि पढ़ते नहीं हैं एस्पिरेंट्स इतने अच्छे से. इसके बाद नेक्स्ट लेस इम्पोर्टेंट सब्जेक्ट पे आते हैं, एंड इट वाज एथिक्स एंड वैल्यूज. Ethics and values in engineering profession. इस सब्जेक्ट से भी 9 क्वेश्चंस आए. इसका डिफिकल्टी लेवल में मॉडरेट, some questions were theory based, like what is engineering ethics, study of so and so, and what is like intellectual property, I think questions were based on that. Then white collar crimes was asked, one question was there. बाकी सब ethics के basics पे था, जैसे study of ethics that takes everything into account, like good and bad consequences. Then study of ethics that deals with the good conduct and the conduct that guides the conduct, normative ethics, that thing. Teleological approach, and yawning should not be done in public place, what is that, civic sense. Then all those things like terminal values, all those things were there. So basically it was theory based, and aspirants generally study this subject. If they study this subject, then they will be able to answer. So I would rate it moderate. Like if they have some basic sense, understanding of the subject, they will be able to answer. उनसे बन जाएगा, वहाँ से कम 6-7 बन जाएगा. So this was moderate. What was the next important subject? I would say it was material science. Yeah, basics of material science and engineering. Again it was moderate. Moderate क्योंकि कुछ इजी क्वेश्चंस भी थे. हाइड्रोजन बॉन्डिंग क्या, मतलब किस टाइप का बॉन्डिंग होता है, पॉजिटिव नेगेटिव हाइड्रोजन दो दूसरे एलिमेंट में, एंड द टेंडेंसी ऑफ द कैपेसिटी ऑफ मटेरियल टू रिकवर इट्स एनर्जी, दैट इज लाइक रेजिलियंस, एंड डिसलोकेशंस पे क्वेश्चंस था, और डेंसिटी ऑफ यूनिट सेल लाइक द मेटल एटम एलिमेंट, कॉपर का कुछ डेंसिटी पूछा था, कुछ डक्टिलिटी पे क्वेश्चन था. ऑल दोस थिंग्स वर देयर. देन सॉल्युबिलिटी लिमिट जो होता है, मैक्सिमम कंसंट्रेशन ऑफ द सॉल्यूट में डिसॉल्व, उस पर क्वेश्चन था. देन लॉन्ग चेन पॉलीमर्स पे क्वेश्चन था, किसमें ये आइडेंटिकल ये नहीं, मतलब यूनिफॉर्म ये नहीं होता, चेन्स नहीं होता जैसे इसमें प्लास्टिक में. तो पॉलीमर से था, सेरामिक से क्वेश्चन था. तो इट वाज वेल बैलेंस्ड, एंड इफ समवन हैड some basic understanding, they would be able to answer it. 9 questions came, at least 4-5 should be able to answer. That would boost your score. And coming on to the last subject, एक ही सब्जेक्ट रह गया है, अब वो है प्रोजेक्ट मैनेजमेंट. प्रोजेक्ट मैनेजमेंट से भी ठीक ही ठाक क्वेश्चन आया था इस बार. मतलब what is not included in the scope of project management, time, scope, quality, cost, and all those things. Easy, it was only easy to say. Then what is done in the final testing phase, what is that called, final, before the project operations are ready to start, and float and all those things. That there was one question was asked. SWOT analysis, then what is the approach used to estimate the rate of returns, then interest, effective rate of interest. तो जो हम लोग पढ़ते हैं बेसिकली प्रोजेक्ट मैनेजमेंट में, वो सब बेसिक्स के ऊपर क्वेश्चन था. So it was again also moderate, but as all the terminologies कोई familiar उतना नहीं हो सकता है, इतना पढ़ना पॉसिबल नहीं था कोर्ट में. Only 7 questions were asked, but at least I think 4 to 5 were doable out of the 7. Overall 13 plus 12 25, 25 plus 11 36, 36 plus 10 plus 10 plus 10 30, 46, 56, 66, 66 plus 9 75, 75 plus 9 84, 84 plus 9 7 93, 93 plus 7 makes it 100. So 100 questions हमारे हो गए. I have rated or classified, categorized according to difficulty level of all the subjects one by one. डिटेल में डिस्कस किया मैंने. तो टोटल इसमें गुड अटेम्प्ट्स, गुड अटेम्प्ट्स माय ओपिनियन वुड बी 70 plus good attempts, out of which if you have accuracy around 70 to 75% also, then you will get somewhere close to 90 to 100, which should be considered a good score. 90 to 100 plus in this paper, in my opinion, is good score for electrical and electronics aspirants, and for mechanical aspirants it may be a little bit higher, 100 to 110 plus, or even this much would be a very good score. इलेक्ट्रिकल के लिए ई और ई टी के लिए ये, और एम ई और सी के लिए ये. If you are scoring even 80 plus, that should also be considered good.